Black light here. You see, this in the back. This been in the family for almost I think older than me. You know, I think my mother got it on Hastings. Uh, I got to ask her about that one, but I know my grandmother had one bigger than that. You see, if you can see this. Whoa, 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 whoa. See, you can see that's supposed to be Mary, baby Jesus. You see, he ain't white. Got a little fro. His mama kind of light skinned. But he in Jesus. He in Egypt or Kemet. And Pops, where Pops at? Well, let's do it like this. There you go. He leading the camel. Now this was hooked up a long time ago. Get situated. Uh-oh. Well, it ain't working like right now, so we just gonna lay it down right here. So he was Master Farad Muhammad was in Black Bottom and selling that tapestry. That's what it is. Picture made out of a rug. And my grandmother bought it, a lot of them, because she was one of the first pioneers back in those days. But this was back in the 40s, you know, in the 30s when she said she bought it. But I don't know how that went, you know. I don't know. I asked her how it went. She said she bought it. But my mother and them, they say she didn't buy it from me. But I don't know. But my grandmother said she bought it from. So, Master Farad. And she said she met him and seen him. He was going door to door selling silks and stuff like that. And this was when the Nation of Islam was in its early infant stage, you know. So one man, you know, came over here to give us all this, what you hearing now, metaphysics, Egyptologists. They wasn't talking like that before Master Farad. Even Marcus Garvey, even though Marcus Garvey was over there in Egypt before he came back over here to the States. He was over there working for a newspaper called the Sun. I think it was the Sun Times or something like that. Don't quote me on that. And he had a mentor. His name was Daus Ali. And Marcus Garvey came back and started up the UNIA. And but he never said he was a Muslim, you know. He was more like saying he was a Christian. But he had the knowledge, some knowledge. But Master Farad came after that, because this was in the 20s. But he gave the messenger, Elijah Muhammad, he gave him all that knowledge that went back 76 trillion years. He taught him that in 3.5 years. He had to read 100 and I believe it was 106 or 103 books. Don't quote me on that. And from the Library of Congress. One day I was watching a documentary about who was the youngest and the most successful thief in the history of the Caucasian. And they were talking about this young white boy who was around 17, 8 years old. 17, he was in his teens, you know, that stole a book out the Library of Congress. He was stealing a whole bunch of books out the Library of Congress. This book was worth thousands and thousands of dollars. You know, they never said what the book was that he stole. If they did, they didn't go into detail about it. The book. And then I read somewhere else where, over in the Vatican, where they got ancient scripts and books over there that's so valuable that they keep armed guards there. And only a few people, you had to have so many degrees behind your name to go down into the Vatican to really actually read it. And they be watching you all the time, you know. So now the Library of Congress is where the Honorable Elijah Muhammad went to study up on the assignment that the Master Farad Muhammad gave him. And so what this tells you? It tells you that they got our history locked away in those books, in those libraries, worth thousands of dollars because of the knowledge that's in them. But we don't know nothing about them. Not even when you go to college, they tell you. But somehow this thief knew about that. He was a special thief. And he was a young guy. And how did he know about it? His family must have been rich already, you know. But he was just doing it to see if he can get away with it. That's what they tell us. That's what they told us on this documentary. So, you know, we got enough knowledge now that we can rule with. We just don't want to put it to use. The knowledge that we know is that we the original people of the planet. We know that. And we know that we was here before the Caucasians. We know that. We know that the Caucasians was in caves. We know that. And we know that he lied, killed, and cheated for trying to rule us. And we know some kind of way he put us under a spell, you know, tricked us. We know that. Now we woke up to that. We know that we in his mindset, and we got to come out of it. We know that we got to unite. We know it. It's a matter of life or death for some of us, for many of us. And we know that our future generation, we got to make sure that our nation, a melanation, will continue. There's no guarantees in anything, even though the universe is on our side. But once you wake up, the universe gives you all kinds of signs to wake you up. And if you refuse to recognize the signs of the universe, you will perish. It says that. It says it, the lack of knowledge and the lack of vision. You out of here. So, after we go, if we go, he ain't gonna be around long anyway. So his only chances are to mate with us. And he'll keep his mindset of destruction, but he'll have some of our melanin in him. But some of them don't want to mate with us. Some of them want to keep them pure. They feel like if they get our melanin, but in order to do that, they gotta, keep us under lock and key, so they could go to the cupboard and, they'll grow us like cattle. See, go to the cupboard, and open up a melanation can of us and inject it into themselves, and they'll live. So they're gonna keep us asleep as long as they can, because they'd rather keep us asleep, then they won't have to fight, that hard or struggle. They'll just keep us in a zombie-like state. And anytime they need a shot of melanin, they just get one of us, And that's why they got them hospitals, man. So every time you croak, or one of us is up in the hospital getting tested, and we giving them our blood, they're getting the melanin out the blood, So, it's hard for some people to understand that,